Welcome to the MLS Show. It is 90 minutes in 90 seconds for week 3 of the 2017 Major League Soccer season. This video is going to be a bit different. I chopped them all up last week. It's going to be condensed into one video this week. So let's start with New York City against Montreal Impact. It ended 1-1 this one. Probably an even result. Fair result. I think New York City, fantastic last week against DC United. And this one, they had moments when it looked like they'd take the game away, but it was a little bit of a feisty one. There was a few challenges flying in. David Villa, I thought he was going to score about the 24th, 25th minute, just dinked it over Evan Bush into the side net, and it was the first real chance. And New York were pressing, coming forward, but Montreal Impact always carrying that threat with the likes of Piatti and Adjoro on the break. But it was New York City that got themselves in front right on half time. Ball knocked into the box. Wallace with a lovely little back flick to midfielder Christian Ning, and he had the shot. Keepers made a good save, but Wallace has stayed alive, kept alive to the play, and has slid it home for his second of the season to give New York City the lead. And almost immediately, Montreal were level. But almost level, rather. Piatti running at the defence, they were backing off, and he just opens his foot out and curls it round. The keeper hits the outside of the post, but that was a warning sign for New York City from Montreal. Ended the first half 1-0. Second half, they get caught square with a long ball. It's a good ball over the top. Matarrita's got to do better. Lets Adjoro run in behind him, and Adjoro finishes it up into the roof of the net. It's a brilliant finish. And then they kind of both had half chances. And then right at the death, Tommy McNamara with a header over the bar from the free kick. It really was the last attack of the game, and he heads that one over. And it ends, 1-1. I think looking at the shot count, New York City have had 18, but only 4 on target. Montreal Impact, 13. They hit the target 5 times with their shots. 56% of the ball for New York City, and they had 507 passes compared to Montreal Impact's 391. But a solid enough start for Patrick Vieira's men. Lost at Orlando City, turned that round last week by beating DC 4-0 and followed it up with a point here. So one of each in their opening games. Montreal, they are a tough side. So a point apiece, probably the right result in this one there. But both of these sides will certainly be in the mix come the end of the season. This one ended New York City 1, Montreal Impact 1. Atlanta United 4, Chicago Fire 0. Atlanta United, how can you not be impressed with this side? Had a little bit of a back and forth on Twitter with somebody who was kind of saying Chicago Fire played a large portion of this game with 10 men. They did, but Atlanta United have been absolutely brilliant. Scored 11 goals in their 3 games. It's been fantastic. Took the lead very fortuitously, to be fair. It was a Gressel cross that goes in off Vincent and deflects past the keeper inside 4 minutes, and that gave Atlanta United that belief and that energy to go on. A crowd of just under 46,000 there. Gorgeous day, probably roasting. Bright sunshine, but Chicago Fire losing the goal in the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then it got worse. Kappelhoff sent off for a pull. Was it harsh? Possibly because there was a covering defender, but one of them where the referees looked, the lad's through, he's been dragged down, he's sent off, and it was an uphill battle then for Chicago Fire. Joseph Martinez, this kid is on fire. His movement is fantastic, plays on the last line of the defence, just got fantastic movements, and it was him who doubled Atlanta's lead after the hour mark. A lovely little through ball, stays onside, like I say, plays right on the shoulder of the defender, stays onside, dances through round the keeper, knocks it in, and it's 2-0 to Atlanta, and there was no coming back then for the Fire. It went 3-0 when Villalba, that how you say it, ball in the box, shifts it on, drives it into the back of the net for 3-0. And then again, Martinez waiting on that last man, slid in again, and this goal is incredible from such an acute angle, dances around the keeper and knocks it in to the net. And this kid, it's his 5th goal of the season. He's going to be, you're looking at him already thinking, is he going to win the Golden Boot? Because this side, it's the first season Tata Martino's in there. They've got some really good players. Such an exciting side to watch so far, and going to keep your eye on them for the rest of the season. Just looking at the stats, 14 attempts at goal for Atlanta, 6 on target, 6 for Chicago with 3 on target, 83% of the possession for Atlanta. That's going to be that when it's against 10 men, isn't it? But they had an incredible 935 passes and a 93% completion rate, which is incredible, compared to Chicago Fire's 192 passes and a 61%. Atlanta joint top of the Eastern Conference. What a start it's been for them. Fire have looked okay in their opening couple of games, so I'm quite sure it's going to get, Parnovich will get that sorted out. They've just got to make sure they keep 11 men on the pitch, I guess. This one ended Atlanta United 4, Chicago Fire 0. Vancouver Whitecaps 0, Toronto FC 2. A tight game. Tightest game. Both had opportunities. Hinged on Breck Shea getting themselves sent off with 20 minutes to go. The scoreline at 0-0. Gets booked for a cheap foul. He's not happy with the free kick, but when you look at it, it probably is a booking. And then quite stupidly, he says something to the referee. Don't know what he says, but the referee looked totally unimpressed with what Shea had said. And the red card came out. And you're giving that's stupid. Carl Robinson will be fuming, really, because your team is well in the game at 0-0. Don't get yourself sent off for doing that to the referee. It was just ridiculous. Shea goes off, and Toronto stepped it up, and it was Vasquez who gave them the lead with a great header from close range. 15 minutes to go, and then Josie Altidore, Ped's mate, good strength in the box, turns and whips it back across the keeper into the far corner to give Toronto a 2-goal lead. And it was there was no way back for Vancouver with the 10 men. Toronto, they've made a really good start. They're in 4th place. They've had 3 games away from home, from the BMO Stadium. Have got themselves into 4th place, unbeaten in those games. Vancouver in 9th place without a win so far this season. They really need to step it up. Defended really well, but if you're looking at the the stats from the game, 8 attempts at goal for Vancouver, but just 1 on target. Toronto had 10 attempts, 3 on target, 58% of the ball Toronto finished with, and they had 545 passes compared to 391 for Vancouver. So a well-earned victory on the road for Toronto FC. And they look strong again, don't they? And this is with Giovinco and, not really gone up into that first gear, into his full mode like he does. And when he does that, Toronto will be even better. But this one ended Vancouver Whitecaps 0, Toronto FC 2. DC United 0, Columbus Crew 2. Goals from Higuain and Ola Kamara, both coming from the penalty spot. Both penalties, I could see why they were given, but there's also a case for them not being given. They weren't, I wouldn't say they were stonewallers, but the 2 penalties. Bill Hamid had already made a couple of really good saves to keep the scoreline at 0-0 when Kamara went down and Higuain stepped up after 38 minutes to give Columbus Crew the lead. The game went back and forth a little bit, and then Kamara got a penalty and slotted it himself on 66 and then done some celebration, which was a little bit whatever. Stefan makes a really good save to keep Columbus Crew's clean sheet intact. DC, Ben Olsen's men, that pitch, by the way, is woeful for the 3rd game in, isn't it? They'll be delighted when they move stadiums, but what a rubbish pitch it looks at the moment. DC United 2nd bottom in the Eastern Conference with a draw and 2 defeats from their opening 2 matches. Crew up to 6. They've had something of it. They've had one of everything. They've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 1 from their games so far this season. But in this one, if you just look at it, DC actually had 13 attempts compared to Columbus Crew 7, only 3 on target. Columbus Crew had 6 of their 7 on target. 52% for DC, 47.2 obviously for Columbus Crew. 469 passes for DC United, 439 for the Crew. So just on the stats, DC the better side, but when you're coming up with 2 penalty kicks, what can you do? Sure, Ben Olsen will get it sorted as soon as possible. Greg Berhalter will be delighted with his side getting their first win of the season. This one ended DC United 0, Columbus Crew 2. Orlando City 2, Philadelphia Union 1. Kyle Larin, the man, again coming up big for Orlando City in this one. No game last week, called off due to snow, I think, in New England. So it was a second game of the season at Orlando City's new stadium. The wall was bouncing, and so was Kyle Larin. City, of course, without Kaká, who limped off after 11 minutes on day one. But Giles Barnes has come in and offered them, that enthusiasm and that willingness to run. But it was the front two of Larin and Rivas, really, that caused Union lots of problems in this one. And Rivas is one of those players who, as you're pulling your hair out, doesn't he, at times. But when he turns it on, he can be devastating. And he was devastating. The opening goal looked like he may have been offside, but I think he times his run just right, gets it under control. I'm not sure whether it's a cross or his shot, but it goes across, and there's Kyle Larin smashing home on 39 minutes to give Orlando City the lead. Union came out strong in the second half, and it was CJ Sapong with a close-range header after Bedoya had flicked it on, and he headed it past Joe Bendik to equalise for Union. But then Orlando, it was a tight game. Union had a lot of a lot of the ball and some half chances in the first half, and Orlando City had to defend for their lives. Jonathan Spector in particular, Will Johnson absolutely brilliant, getting last-ditch tackles in and blocks. Bendik big as always, but City always carrying that threat, and it was them again. Ball played in, lovely little flick by Rivas to Perez Garcia. He slides the ball through to Kyle Larin, running through, tucks it away quite beautifully into the back of the net to restore Orlando City's lead. And he scored all three of Orlando's goals this year, Larin. They were very fortunate late on. City, I have to say this, Ilsino hitting a tremendous shot which hit the inside of the post and came out. And in the same move, the ball back in, and it was Bedoya's header, and Joe Bendik makes a close-range, two-handed save to keep Orlando City's 100% record alive. He dived on the ball. That basically was that. And they'd won the game by 2-1, 6 points from 6 points. And I'm telling you what, that stadium is going to be big for Orlando City this season. The noise, the grass, everything about it, so compact, it's going to make it a fortress there, I'm sure of it. The stats from the game, 10 shots to Orlando City, 5 on target, 13 for Philadelphia Union, but only 2 on target. Orlando City have more of the ball, 51.5% possession, 309 passes compared to Philadelphia Union's 283. Like I said, Orlando City joint top in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia Union 9th without a win so far, but 2 draws. It was their first defeat. So I'm sure Jim Curtin will fine-tune that and get them going. Although we're seeing a stat that they're actually winless in 10, the Union, and I'm not sure whether that is accurate, so let me know if that's true. But what a fantastic start for Jason Kreis and his Orlando City side. This one ended Orlando City 2, Philadelphia Union 1. FC Dallas 2, New England Revolution 1. Dallas continuing their fantastic start of the season. The Revs, one of them, game called off last week, started this game really, really well. Really well. Had lots of the ball in and around the Dallas penalty area. Got a penalty. Lee Wynn, what a player. Stepped up, slots, and the Revs are ahead. And they almost went 2-0 ahead a couple of minutes later. Kai Kamara, some great work. Cuts back inside. It's a great shot. Sight make the save, and then it breaks, and Wynn goes down appealing for a penalty. Referee says no. But, the Revs could have gone 2-up within the first quarter of an hour there, and it would have been a long way back for Dallas. Both had opportunities to add to the scoring until, we got to 20 minutes to go, and then the Revs basically 2 embarrassing bits of defending, really poor pieces of defending has cost them. One Figueroa, it's an absolutely fantastic diagonal to, I think it's Barrios, but Tierney has got to deal with it. Let it go over his head. Barrios' first touch is really good into the box. Shot gets blocked, it comes out, Arruti takes a touch and smashes it in via the defender to level up for Dallas. And then it's a ball down the line. That was on 77 minutes, ball down the line. It bounces, and Gua's got to deal with it, and he doesn't. Ruti comes round and smashes it in from an unbelievable angle into the roof of the net to give FC Dallas all the points. 15 shots at Dallas, 3 on target. The Revs, 4 shots, 3 on target. 59.5% possession for Dallas. 440 passes compared to 311 for the Revs. So a deserved victory for Dallas in this one. It ended FC Dallas 2, New England Revolution 1. Sporting Kansas City 2, San Jose Earthquakes 1. And this game will stand out for me for an absolutely brilliant goal and an absolutely woeful goal for Sporting Kansas City. Let's do the good first, because that came first. Benny Feilhaber, what a goal. What an absolutely stunner of a goal. Out of his feet, whips it back across the keeper into the top corner. Bingham not given an earthly to give Sporting Kansas City the lead. It was an absolutely brilliant goal. 37 minutes. It stayed like that. Sporting Kansas City having chances. San Jose, I think they'd registered something like 39 shots in their opening couple of games or something like that. But in this one, he just never got going. Only ended up with 5 shots. Sporting Kansas City just couldn't quite get that second goal. And we get to the 89th minute, and it's still 1-0. And then Sart has a shot, deflects, and Bingham, who's a really good goalkeeper, or is a decent goalkeeper, let's say, dives on it and lets it run under him, and it was going wide, and it's hit him and bounced under him and rolled in to give Kansas a 2-0 lead in the 89th minute. And then Jungwirth scores for San Jose. It was a lovely finish, actually swept it in with his left foot. But, you've got to look at Bingham and say, what on earth has happened there? Like I said, shot count, the stats, Sporting Kansas City, 15 attempts at goal, just 4 on target. San Jose Earthquakes, 5 attempts with 3 on target. Actually had more of the ball. San Jose, 53% of the ball. And 509 passes compared to Sporting Kansas City's 453 passes. The league table, San Jose in 4th place with 6 points from their opening 3 games, their first defeat of the season. Sporting Kansas City up to 5th with their first victory of the season. So both of them made a solid start, but this one ended in Kansas. It ended Sporting Kansas City 2, San Jose Earthquakes 1. Colorado Rapids 2, Minnesota United 2. It's a first point in Major League Soccer for Adrian Heath's Minnesota United. But not thanks to the defending, because they just want to give themselves a mountain to climb. Conceded 5 at Portland, 6 at home to Atlanta last week, and give the goal away on 17 minutes to Badgie with, again, comical defending. A ball out the press, it's charged down, the defender with Badgie does a little outstretched leg, half-hearted attempt. Badgie just runs past them and slots it in, and you're 1-0 down when you're not playing with confidence. And that really, Adrian Heath must have had his head in his hands thinking, here we go again. But you know what? They hung on in there and got themselves back in the second half. The 50th minute when Kevin Molino scored from the penalty spot. Colorado were complaining it wasn't a penalty. It was. And Molino steps up and slots into the back of the net. And Minnesota are level. And they then go in front when Christian Ramirez, it was a brilliant header, ball in from the right hand side, dives in at the near post, lovely angle into the far corner past Tim Howard, and Minnesota United are in dreamland. The Loons were in dreamland, bouncing away 2-1 up, living the dream. Yeah, it didn't last very long, because what happens, Minnesota's defence goes to sleep and they allow Hairston a close range header to level things up at 2-2. Then Justin Davis is sent off. It was a high, him and Hairston come together. His foot was high and it did catch Hairston. He carried on with the ball. I don't know if it had been a red card in England. It doesn't matter, because the game was played in the United States. It was given as a red card. And again, Adrian Heath must have been stood there thinking, we've got 20 odd minutes against a team who was notoriously strong at home. And what's going to happen here. But you know what? Minnesota hung in there. They got blocks in. Yeah, Colorado missed a couple of chances, but they're up and running, Minnesota. It ends 2-2. Adrian Heath will be delighted. The shot count, 11 to Colorado, 7 Minnesota. 63% of the ball with Colorado. 494 passes to Minnesota's 298. But it ended Colorado Rapids 2, Minnesota United 2. Real Salt Lake 1, LA Galaxy 2. This is a game that was affected again by a red card. Real Salt Lake took the lead. Movsisian's brilliant header on 18 minutes gave them the lead and looked in command. Coming up to half-time, still 1-0 up. Galaxy having a lot of the ball, but Real Salt Lake more than holding their own, leading 1-0. And Kyle Beckerman sent off. It was another booking. It was a sending off. And then you're up against it, aren't you? Galaxy come out, haven't started the season particularly well. Galaxy, lost their opening 2 matches. I think it was the first time since 2001 or something like that. And they had to step this up. And they found it difficult. They found it tough going against, a resolute Real Salt Lake side, winning 1-0. A lot of people behind the ball. But Galaxy, Real Salt Lake went to sleep off a corner. And Romney volleys in from a corner. It's a brilliant volley. But he shouldn't have been on his own. Something so basic, marking off a set piece, has got Galaxy back into it. And then they take the lead. That was on 69. Boateng then puts them in front on 74. Scrappy bit of play around the box and Boateng dispatching into the far corner. And then Nick Raimondo pulls off an absolutely brilliant save from Jermaine Jones' header to try and keep Real Salt Lake in the game at that stage. But it's a first victory of the season for the Galaxy. They hung on in there. The stats from the game: 5 attempts at goal for Real Salt Lake, 3 on target, 9 for Galaxy, with just 4 on target. 62% of the ball for Galaxy, not surprising considering they were playing against 10 men for more than half the game. They ended up 445 passes to Real Salt Lake's 261. RSL 9th in the Western Conference, just a single point from their opening few fixtures. Galaxy now up to 7th with 3 points from their opening 3 fixtures. And they'll be hoping that it's an upward trajectory. But this one ended Real Salt Lake 1, LA Galaxy 2. Portland Timbers 4, Houston Dynamo 2. The Dynamo are beaten. Both of these teams going into this game with a 100% record. And something had to give. And unfortunately for Dynamo, it was them. They went behind rather harshly, I felt. Diego Valeri's penalty on 11 minutes, I thought was harshly awarded. Defender had his arms close to his body when it hit him, but Valeri stepped up and stroked it home. And then Cubo Torres from the penalty spot for Houston at the other end. Again, a free kick. But when you look at it, I thought it was harsh when you look at it. The arms were up. The referee, you're talking about consistency. He was consistent. He gave the penalty. Torres slotted. It was 1-1. And then Kyoto put the Dynamo ahead in first half stoppage time. A lovely little break. Slid right across. Nice touch and steered it beyond the keeper into the far corner to give Houston the lead at the break. And then Diego Valeri, a close range header to level things up in the second half, almost on the hour mark, before Guzman. Nice little move, waltzed through, knocked in. And then Fernando Addy added his name to the score sheet with a couple of minutes left. Always scores them goals, Addy. Always seems to be running with people and has time to stop the ball and bundle a few out the way and then just whack it into the far corner. Always seems to score those kind of goals. The stats from the game: Timbers 17 attempts at goal, 7 on target. Dynamo 12 attempts for them, just 6 on target. 58% of the ball to the Timbers, 473 passes compared to 340 passes by the Dynamo. Timbers maintain 100% record, 3 wins from their opening 3 games to put them top of the Western Conference. Houston in third, a really good start for them with 6 points from their opening 9 points available. These two teams have started the season really well, but it was Timbers who came out on top this time. It ended Portland Timbers 4, Houston Dynamo 2. So there you go. I've tried to do every game 90 minutes and 90 seconds. I'll be amazed if I've done any game in 90 seconds, but I am trying to get better at it. If you're watching this and you want to do a couple of these 90 seconds, 90 minutes and 90 second videos, get in touch with us. Get in touch with me on Twitter and report for your side. It's quite easy. Get your camera phone or get your laptop and just go bang, 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 couple of minutes. Job is a good one. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, tell your mates, watch our videos. There'll be me, I'll be back in the studio recording our game of the week and going over some of these games in a little bit more detail. So look out for them, and I've been Baz. Thanks for watching the MLS Show. And almost immediately, Montreal were level. Break, but almost level, rather. Piatti running at the defence, they were backing off and he just opens his foot out and curls it round. The keeper hits the outside of the post. But that was a warning sign for New York City from Montreal. Ended the first half 1-0. Second half, they get caught square with a long ball. It's a good ball over the top. Matarrita's got to do better. Lets Ajoro run in behind him. And Ajoro finishes it up into the roof of the net. It's a brilliant finish. And then they kind of both had half chances. And then right at the death, Tommy McNamara with a head. Welcome to the MLS Show. It is 90 minutes and 90 seconds for week 3 of the 2017 Major League Soccer season. This video is going to be a bit different. I chopped them all up last week. It's going to be condensed into one video this week. So let's start with New York City against Montreal Impact. It ended 1-1 this one. Probably an even result. Fair result. I think New York City, fantastic last week against DC United. And this one, they had moments when it looked like they'd take the game away, but it was a little bit of a feisty one. There was a few challenges flying in. A point apiece, probably the right result in this one. But both of these sides will certainly be in the mix come the end of the season. This one ended New York City 1, Montreal Impact 1. Atlanta United 4, Chicago Fire 0. Atlanta United, how can you not be impressed with this side? Had a little bit of a back and forth on Twitter with somebody who was kind of saying Chicago Fire played a large portion of this game with 10 men. They did, but Atlanta United have been absolutely brilliant. Scored 11 goals in their 3 games. It's been David Villa. I thought he was going to score about the 24th, 25th minute. Just dinked it over Evan Bush into the side net, and it was the first real chance. And New York were pressing, coming forward, but Montreal Impact always carrying that threat with the likes of Piatti and Ajoro on the break. But it was New York City that got themselves in front right on half time. Ball knocked into the box. Wallace with a lovely little back flick to midfielder Christian Ning, and he had the shot. Keepers made a good save, but Wallace has stayed alive, kept alive to the play, and has slid it home for his second of the season to give New York City the lead. Header over the bar from the free kick. It really was the last attack of the game, and he heads that one over. And it ends, 1-1. I think looking at the shot count, New York City have had 18, but only 4 on target. Montreal Impact, 13. They hit the target 5 times with their shots. 56% of the ball for New York City, and they had 507 passes compared to Montreal Impact's 391. But a solid enough start for Patrick Vieira's men. Lost at Orlando City, turned that round last week by beating DC 4-0 and followed it up with a point here. So one of each in their opening games. Montreal, they are a tough side. So